There it is. Welcome. Hey, everybody. Man, see, I need to prepare these things. Literally, just got in my head. All right, we were just talking about how I am terrible with intros. Welcome. My name is Devon. I have here with me my good friend Wyatt Hansen. Down in the pub streaming here tonight. We've got a couple of things to talk about tonight. We're just kind of going through them, making our oh gosh, see? Yeah. New mic. Yeah. It's gonna go crazy.
See, that'll generate like half of this stream is just gonna be talking about microphones and things that changed a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm like this close to ordering some just wireless
lapel
little lapel mics so that I just don't have to worry about this stuff. I don't have to cable anything up, and I can just walk around, and I can move here and I can move over here, and like the audio doesn't change.
And then you can even have one of those fun little instances where somebody walks off to a bathroom, doesn't realize it's a hot mic, and then or they walk off to another room, all that fun stuff.
That would be the worst. The amount of people that would walk out of here with it and go to the bathroom. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
I think you've got plenty of time to troubleshoot. So this is not like a urgent commitment kind of thing.
Right. The good thing is I think these work, and they're decent enough quality. So hopefully it is quality enough. Well, either way, welcome to the pub. It is Saturday night. We are talking tech and doing some of that kind of stuff. Most of the time we talk tech. I don't know if you saw the little video from last week's stream. There's a reason that the drone is still down here because we were talking about that.
Okay.
I don't know. That might be a conversation for after we've finished the first beer. I don't know.
All good.
If we should get into that or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to everybody for being here. Thank you, Red, for already jumping in and being first to comment. We appreciate you being here. Man, I don't know. How's your day? How's your day going?
It was delightful. I started out the day catching up on some Fallout New Vegas. That has been the main thing I've been playing, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Good.
And then, got to spend some time with coworkers. They had a kid graduate, dropped off a card, ate some barbecue, hung out. It's a fantastic time. Scooched on over here, and we've got no complaints. Weather's good, feeling good, and we've got good beer and good conversation.
That sounds like a day already.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh, man. We went to the zoo this morning.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we celebrated Amelia's birthday today.
Yeah.
Started out with Krispy Kremes, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And then went to the zoo, walked around. Beautiful day. Couldn't have asked for a better day.
Yeah.
But, of course, everybody else in town thought the same thing.
Yeah.
So it was a little busy, but, it's the zoo. What do you do?
Yeah.
But we saw everything that at least she wanted to see.
Good.
It was fun because Leo actually cared about it and stuff too. So he saw everything, and he was able to see the elephant and see the monkeys and the tiger. Like, he loved it all. So that was exciting too. That he's actually wasn't just like sitting in the stroller and falling asleep. So that was fun. Then we just kind of came home and played outside a bunch because it was so nice, and did not get a nap. So there's that.
See how that goes.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how long the stream is tonight. Man, yeah. So it's been a day. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, just a super high level. I know that we have a bunch of tech people that join in here, all different ages, skill levels, and different things like that. And I feel like you might be one of those people that are very insightful to a lot of people that are aspiring to grow and work in the tech industry. So
yeah. Well, just a quick high level overview. I have a pretty unconventional. What do you got?
I completely forgot to post anywhere that we were going live. So
don't worry about it.
I'm gonna do some
I'll
posting here real quick.
I'll prattle on. So I'm a VP of IT for Leader One Financial, a mortgage lender based. Our corporate office is based out of Kansas City, but we're working in 47 states. We are all over the place. So we are got a big footprint, over 700 employees, over 100 offices, doing a lot with different loan types, a lot of conventional, VA, FHA, reverse, things like that. market, allowing with current rates and all of that. So fun stuff there. But so I actually have had a pretty unconventional foray into the world of information technology. I went to the University of South Dakota when I graduated high school. I was actually looking to go into accounting to do forensic accounting with the FBI because that was where I thought,
cool.
like, this seemed like really interesting work. This could
Yeah.
be really cool. I looked at the course load and then wimped right out because I realized I did not have the chops for that. And so I went one down the roster and noticed acting and went, yeah, let's do that. And so in end of 2018, I graduated with my Bachelor's of Fine Arts in theater from the University of South Dakota, but all that through that time I'd worked in basically an internship part-time job with an MSP, and through a ton of patience and excellent teachers and a little bit of go-getter attitude, I managed to get a good foundation before I moved down to Kansas City and started really moving my career forward. So that's my quick little elevator pitch for Wyatt Hansen with no senior, junior, esquire, etc.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible, honestly.
Yeah. And what I want to say is a lot of it is due to things well outside of my control. So when I look at where I've come, this is not like, oh, if you just work hard enough, you'll get there. No. If you work really hard and you were insanely lucky and in the right place at the right time a bunch of times in a row, yeah, things will go really well. And, looking back, I always like to think about what's going on behind the scenes, both personally and professionally. And working in theater, I really focused on that, doing a lot with stage management and the technical side. And throughout my life, there's a lot of contributors. There's a lot of people that have directly or indirectly given me wisdom, encouragement, and opportunities. And I am an incredibly fortunate individual. There is, some that I've done that's helped me along. But again, this is a wild ride that has been a lot of happenstance. So I need to put that gigantic disclaimer out because I am not a whiz kid. I am nothing like that. So,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good. So, I mean, at this point in time, definitely, if you have any, outstanding questions for Wyatt, as far as that kind of stuff goes, I'm sure he'd be happy to, answer to the best of his abilities. I for one, love, helping people and seeing them succeed. And I feel like, you're one of those cases that is definitely succeeding. So
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, from the outside looking in, definitely, seems like it. So
well, and one thing I want to butt in here with too. So a lot of people end up asking about the connection between like theater and technology, especially as it relates to like corporate IT. Shameless plug, if you guys like Toggle Magazine, an online publication, I actually have an article in there. Where I get talked about as in my role at Leader One Financial, kind of my history, how I relate, theater to all of that. So, don't just go to Toggle to look at that article. Go to learn a bunch of, what's happening in the IT world, interesting bios, things like that. So, again, very shameless plug, not just good info on me, good info on a lot of people and what's happening in the industry. So, I am not a paid sponsor of Toggle Magazine. I will say that right now. This is just my my recommendation for them.
That's awesome. Well, I just posted that link in there. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. Thank you. Yep, absolutely. I mean, I don't even know where to go after that. Like, I feel like that's. I mean, what else do we talk about that's just better than that? Like, that's crazy.
Well, it's. I do not like to talk about myself, so it's pretty easy for me to transition to any other subject.
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat should they come up, very generically after that wide swath of, haha, it's me.
Yeah.
But no, we could start talking about cell phone tech, because I know the last couple weeks have been pretty interesting with Pixel's actual launches and not leaks, whether they be purposeful or not, given their last, I think, decade of very consistent leaks.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty crazy looking. Everybody's actually finally announced all of the Google stuff has been officially announced. The Pixel 7a is out there.
Yep.
Which, to be honest, I've been hearing so many amazing things about.
Good.
But I look at it compared to the Pixel 7 that I have, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's worth the $100 discount that you get.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so when you look at it from the spec sheet, right? Like everything looks identical. The processor, the RAM, the storage sizes, like everything is identical, almost exactly the same size, like all of this stuff, right? Yeah. But there's a couple of those like little things that get me. So the one nice thing is the camera bump is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But that's because they fit a smaller sensor in there.
Yeah.
So even though the megapixels on the camera are higher, like most people are saying that the camera is a little bit worse.
Yeah.
Like, so it's fine, right?
Yeah.
But it's just interesting how they market that.
Yeah.
But also then things like the screen.
Yeah.
This is the Gorilla Glass Victus, where the Pixel 7a is Gorilla Glass like 2 or something.
Yeah.
Like something crazy old to save some money. And I'm not gonna lie, after using a couple different phones recently that don't have the Gorilla Glass Victus, oh man, it's like feels like silk when I come back to this phone.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. I did not honestly realize that there was a difference in the way that the glass felt. I thought these extra versions of Gorilla Glass were like how strong it was.
Yeah.
There is such a noticeable difference between some of those older versions of Gorilla Glass and this Victus. Like it's crazy. So I don't know. There's a couple of those little things like that I'm just like, I don't know. It makes it seem definitely less premium. I don't know if it's worth $100.
Yeah.
For me, I got this one used. I mean, and again, your mileage. I always say that like mileage will vary when you're buying used. But I definitely am a fan of used technology. Bought this one used, great condition. Got it for $385, like months ago now, right? Still cheaper than a brand new 7a right now. So it's like, for me, that seems like still the way to go. I don't know.
Well, and so like I started out on the Pixel 2 a long time ago, and then I moved to the 4a, and I was extremely happy with that because it was so light and durable that, I mean, there was nothing to that phone. You literally it was so nice to have such a small and mostly powerful device at the time. Yeah. And then I moved over to a Pixel 6 Pro from that. And, I've talked to other people that have used the A series a lot, just, coworkers with kids especially. Like, they've really enjoyed the A series because a lot of the time when you're looking at that user experience for, like a family, that, especially when you're looking for kids at a certain age and with a certain interest, they're not like needing the best camera tech, the fastest storage. Like, you need a durable phone that allows them to experience the world around them. They need to be able to access the technical resources as a student, a friend, a person in the world, whatever it may be. They need a way to capture those same moments that everybody else does with a front and back facing camera. They need a phone that doesn't die in 20 minutes, that has a battery that's functional and is, again, durable.
That's what the only reason I need to upgrade Katie's phone right now is because her battery barely lasted till noon today at the zoo. Like, it was at 10% when we got in the car. Yeah.
Well, and so this is what actually drove my wife into the Pixel series. That and me really railroading her in there was that when she went from her iPhone 7, that was just literally verge of death. I mean, it was, you could keep it charged for like 12 hours, and that was it. And then it was also running out of storage space with the questionable practices of Apple and making sure that upgrades are done in a timely manner, which I'll leave at that. And with all of that, she moved to the 4A because it was incredibly cheap, very easy to move over, very easy to transfer. And then I recently, like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, got her on the 7, and she really got to experience that move from one Pixel device to another, which is just gorgeous. I mean, the apps move to the exact same spot. The backgrounds
Yeah.
move. The lock screens move.
Yeah.
I mean, and you move all the phone data, the text messages, and for the pack rats of the world that can't live without any of that, or for the less technically inclined that don't want to deal with any of that complexity. I mean, it is really fantastic. And then we only, moved our way from the 4A to the 7 again because of the battery. Just over time that wore down.
Yeah, and it's
But I mean, no, the devices are still fantastic. I think the 7A has a place, but with, again, those really minor changes, and the going from like the 4A to now the 5, the 6, and the 7 with no change in I/O, not adding that 3.5mm audio jack. You're really kind of seeing diminishing returns. And I know with the 4A, a major step down was you couldn't do the wireless charging versus I think the 4 or the 5 because they had those glass backs and it was plastic. So
I live on wireless charging at this point. I could not go on a phone without wireless charging at this point. The only one I did for a while was that super weird League of Legends phone that I had. Did not have wireless charging, but it had like 75-watt fast charging.
Oh.
So, So I didn't plug it in like at night to charge it. I would literally just wake up in the morning and it's almost dead, and I'd come down to come to work and plug it in for like 15 minutes and it's full. I'm like, all right, I'm good to go. I didn't need to charge it like overnight anymore. It was insane. So that was the one that like I was semi okay with that not having wireless charging, but I live on wireless charging. I don't think I've ever plugged this phone in. Or the only time I do is like here. Yeah. I've got that phone on a charger, but it's not. I live on wireless charging.
See, I'm a plebeian. I'm still corded charging everything. The thing is, I haven't really just used a lot of faster wireless chargers yet. I haven't purchased any of those, so I'm used to like, oh great, 10-watt charging. This is gonna take forever. And then I just need to invest in a better wireless charger.
Well, and for me, to be honest, most of the time I'm okay with the little bit slower charging, because most of the time, again, like when I sit down at my desk, I'll just throw my phone on there. Not that I need to charge it, but all of a sudden now it's right in front of me too. So if I get a notification, I just look at it. Yeah. But then it's not also just instantly back to full and like burning the battery up. I don't know.
This actually makes me want to start another conversation around wireless charging. I want to circle back to Google, though, because the Pixel Fold, I want to talk about a little bit, as it's a really interesting beast. But no, the wireless charging thing. I don't know if this was an article that I read or an advertisement I saw, but I know a few years ago they were looking to integrate fluorescent lights or those ceiling lights with wireless chargers. And so it kind of gets into that fun area of, how long is it going to be until we're wireless charging everything, right? Because you can do your smartwatches, you can do your earbud cases, you can do your phones, and then, I mean, is there an upper limit on the wattage pass-through right now for those wireless chargers? Because I don't know where they tap out, because I know once you hit like 60 watts, like 65 watts, then you're going to start getting into like, the enterprise space. Can I wirelessly charge an employee's laptop?
You get a charging mat like this, and guess what? My phone, my laptop, and my mouse are all charging right now.
Yeah. So can you get that fully across everything, and then it gets into your peripherals as well, not just that. Like, can you get away from actually maybe having a docking station and just having a little, as USB-C becomes even more prominent, can you just do a small hub? And instead of a full-on, like clip-in dock or
a little pack like this that you just plug in and it can.
Yeah, because that's something I'd like to see in my lifetime is
cool.
is the ubiquity of that wireless charging hitting everything. Because once you break through a certain point on how much wattage you can push through and the materials you're using in construction of these devices, and you can start scaling it, which is even harder.
Right.
Then you can go to a point where it's like, okay, your monitors are wireless. You're right, and like we've already seen wireless transmission of video as well through like screencasting and whatnot. Yeah. And then that also gets in the question of like, okay, how hard is that on graphics? Because graphics are still progressing. Graphics can keep up with that. Yeah. And the speed of everything, you're getting faster storage and RAM in all of these systems. So I mean, that is something that I'd love to see as the future of like workplace technology. As someone that's really bad at cable management, the less cables I have to manage, it is selfish. It is selfish.
Look at my desk. I mean, look at this right here. Obviously.
Yeah,
amazing.
My home office and my actual office are both not things I'm proud of in terms of cable management. I have tried. There is an effort put in, but man, the phone replacing the laptop conversation.
That's a whole different conversation.
That actually gets
similar, but
that actually gets into what I wanted to talk about with the Pixel Fold. So this is, I remember when the phablets kind of first came out, and like the Galaxy Note started becoming really, the Samsung Note, started becoming really prominent as this like, oh, you've got this massive screen, you've got this stylus built in, you've got all of these, different note-taking options here. And at that point, it's like, okay, if I can get this thing fast enough, at what point don't I need a mobile laptop? Because all of a sudden, it fits in my pocket. And then with the rise of these folding devices like the Pixel Fold, it's like, wow, okay, suddenly you've got this larger display that you can interact with to the point where you can manage a legitimate document, a full spreadsheet, something like that.
Well, and I think that all comes down to, honestly, one, what exactly you're doing, right? And then two, it's just personal preference.
Yeah.
I mean, one, what are you doing? Like, are you editing videos and, whatever? Like, that's probably easier to do on a computer still right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you are going and just working through spreadsheets or working through a document, like, there's no reason. 100% you could do that so easily years ago already, right? On a phone. It all just depends on what you're doing and if you want to use that little screen. But
well, and this actually kind of gets into a fun thing with me with virtual machines. So I actually use Windows 365 as a VM or as a VDI solution really often.
Yeah.
And you don't need a lot to drive something like that. Or, the Citrix world, the VMware world, not to leave them out. But, that's the product I'm more familiar with.
Sure.
But so like with Windows 365, I've seen like, man, I don't need anything to connect to this. I can do I have a ton of people that I know that use iPad Pros to get into it. And they're able to do what they need to. And the thing is, I think if you can getting back into my wireless charging craze, if you can get like a portable display to hook up to your phone over USB-C.
I've looked at.
Yeah.
I'm like this close. If I didn't find this one, if this one was gifted to me by one of my viewers, very graciously. And if I didn't get this, I was looking at those like portable, USB monitors just so I could carry it around super easy.
So I've used a couple of those, and they're pretty great hooking into a laptop. But then it kind of gets in that fun idea of like, wait, can you get a phone that has enough hardware in it? Can you Bluetooth connect a pointing device like a mouse, and then can you hook it up to a mobile display?
Our phones are way more powerful than that laptop.
Exactly, yeah. And so so if you hook up something with that, or especially if you go to plug maybe something like the Nothing phone, which is really, really strong from a spec standpoint, or
not yet.
Okay, well, it will be. It will be strong.
Once they officially release the second one.
And then I forget those guys that started out of Cambridge that built their own phones. The OnePlus? Is that it? Yeah. So like they have ridiculous specs on those phones. So like if you can drive that, and then you can hook up to that mobile display, you can hook up your pointing devices.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't need a laptop at that point because you pay your monthly subscription fee for that. And then with a lot of those, I know there's also a provider out of France that I can't remember the name of. I think it's Shadow PC or something like that. They hook up GPUs.
Yeah.
So you can all of a sudden, you can have a massive amount of storage. You can have a GPU running all virtualized. And so you'll still have some hiccups, especially with like larger latency.
It's all network. Right?
But if you can smooth out the network, and of course networks keep getting better, Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7, you're getting more betterer over time.
Right.
I mean, you can really get to a point in the somewhat foreseeable future where
absolutely
So yes, I do agree that the phone replacing the laptop, it can be done.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's still a lot of hurdles there.
Yeah.
I'll actually give you a second to talk because I've been just charging it.
Well, I mean, so that was one of my like predictions back in like college, right?
Yeah.
Like forever ago was that when smartphones were just becoming a real thing, I was like, this is going to be my computer.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a laptop like shell, and there's not going to be any components in it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm literally just going to slap my phone in there, and then it's gonna project it here, and you're gonna have a desktop shell or like a dock or whatever. So that was my prediction, like way back then. I don't think we're gonna get that far.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think that we need it anymore. I don't think that's the solution to any problem that exists, to be honest. So I don't know how. I mean, like I said, we're already there, right? Like Samsung has their DeX thing. You plug it into a monitor, and you can use it as a computer already, right? Like it's there. Like we have all of this technology, and then you think about any of the tablets too. Like you can get a full laptop, keyboard and trackpad for any of these tablets out there, and use that already. Like why, why take and kill the battery on this when I need it, wherever, when I can just do it with a different device already? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think that that's a problem that needs to be solved anymore. Even though I agree, like it could be a possibility, but until I think you were talking about batteries, until this battery lasts a week without needing to be charged, then I could see that being much more feasible.
Well,
once it's still the same size, the battery lasts a week, and it's just the same. It's just as powerful as a computer.
Yeah. But
then you're also talking like, we need to come up with the right peripherals to do it, right? Yeah. I still want to have this form factor, so I still need to buy a laptop shell. So if this is anywhere still sub-performance or anywhere close to the same price, why wouldn't I just get a regular laptop to go along with it?
Well, and now I want to go into another rant because I haven't done that enough yet. And so now you'll really see that I am in IT management because I cannot stop talking. And I certainly think I know everything. So with, and to say, you respond to, you're on this hill and not getting off of it, I am on the hill of technology does not exist in a vacuum. And so I normally talk about that and how it relates to people. I have never been I love tech for the sake of tech guy. Like, whenever there's a new graphics card from NVIDIA coming out and somebody's talking about, oh my God, they have so many more CUDA cores in there, I'm like, cool. What does it do for me?
Exactly,
how does that help the end user, right?
Yep.
So like when there's all these new technologies coming, I'm like, okay, what's making it more accessible? What's allowing someone with a hearing issue to access it? What's maybe allowing someone who cannot see very well, who maybe has like cataracts or something to access this technology more? How is this technology interacting with the rest of the world? How is it serving the people that are creating it and the people that will come after them? And so, with a lot of these, I like the conversation around like things like the Pixel Fold and the 7a, and a lot of them start out in the spec world of what are the guts of this things look like? What's driving it? How does it work? And then you kind of, after that, kind of get to that point of, okay, how does it work for people? How does this make sense to people? How does this fit a need? And it always seems backwards to me. You need to, first look at what's the need here that this is filling, and then let's go into it, which in fairness is definitely happening on the developer and manufacturer side way before it's ever hitting this. Right. But this is in the armchair philosophers of the world, me to my other armchair philosophers of tech. That we gotta keep that in mind. And with the peripherals, this stuff doesn't exist on its own. Like imagine if you 20 years ago had the same graphical computational power in like a RTX 4090 that you have now, and your CPU was your bottleneck, or your RAM was your bottleneck, or the whole rest of it was your bottleneck, and go full Tony Stark's dad. I am the technology is not available in this time. Like it's just not possible right now. So it's this thing that we always have to remember is, technology never exists in a vacuum. It is always part of the world, and it shapes the world around it so much as it is shaped by it, which is probably a conversation for a few more beers later than this.
That sounds like a conversation I need to get Tony over here for.
Yeah, but I'll jump off my soapbox and try not to break an ankle on the way down.
Oh man. No, that's good. I honestly, that was one of the reasons I wanted to get into long drink. I have always loved the way that technology meets up with, human nature too. That's half the reason why I wanted to get into security when I was in college. It's because security so much, I feel like, hinges around people.
Yeah.
But of course the college course, that I was looking at is all obviously learn how to become a programmer, and then you know how to. Once you learn how to build programs, then you know how to take them apart and do the security for them. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's always been the human interaction with it. Like, you can build the craziest security stuff that you want, but as soon as somebody writes down their password on the sticky note, sticks it to their monitor, like, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. It was actually, we can talk about long drink and then circle back to this for a second. So long drink is something that I found at a local store here in Kansas City a few weeks ago. It is just a very interesting flavored beer with, I think, what was it? Was it juniper and then grapefruit and what else?
It says gin with natural grapefruit, juniper berries, and carbonation.
Okay, so not a beer. It is gin-based. My apologies. I started out completely wrong there. No wonder it doesn't taste like beer. So it's a very interesting canned mixed drink. But, I mean, if you like those more kind of, like, herby flavors, or, like, you like what, like, the Boulevard Quirks are trying to do, where they're bringing in all of these interesting flavor combinations, this is a cool one to try. Don't buy a six-pack. Go buy a single. But, like, this is a very, very cool one to try. All right. We'll lock the doors. Get everybody out.
Oh no, he's been over to way too many of these. He knows where I hide the key, type of thing.
Oh, good. He'll crash it completely. But yeah, so no, that is the long drink in short.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, but
I
no.
like it.
So getting back to whatever we were talking about before, no, security. This actually brings up so.
And I apologize again. We can't talk about security too much because that is another conversation that Tony said that he wants to be in on. So he's not here. So
what I'm going to do is I don't have anything too significant to add.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to let this be the teaser for when Tony comes by. You guys make sure that you tune in there because he is going to have a lot to add. So that's
absolutely. But yeah, no, I mean, I love that kind of stuff. So if you have anything, I love all of that stuff. But
yeah, it was just another note on the person is the biggest part of security. Yeah. They are your biggest asset and your biggest weakness. And so I actually in the fun thing about Leader One, I think it was my 7th week there, I was asked to fill in for our chief information officer at a meeting with all of our executives in corporate management and give a presentation on his behalf. And so
So this is before you were...
I was the IT support specialist. Again, this was my 7th week on the job.
As a technician.
Yep. Yeah, so
amazing.
Still didn't know anybody's name. Went in there, and so he thankfully gave me all the content. All I had to do was present it. And one of the biggest takeaways I had from that was on security, and it was like, we got to remember from every single standpoint as we talk to everybody, no matter what field you're working in, the person sitting at the computer, the person at the reins, they are the biggest asset and the biggest liability. But we got to focus on the biggest asset part, because by taking those couple of seconds to think about, wait, is this something I should click on? Is this someone that has contacted me before? Does this look normal? You can stop so much potential headache. And there are very few people that work in information security professionally that I know of. This may not be true for the entire industry, as my pool is quite limited, but there's very few that I know of that get frustrated with repeat questions of what is and is not secure. So, that natural curiosity of is this good or is it not is great, because every company, every infosec structure, I mean, it is a fortress. Any standing battlement is built to be defeated, because it's going to stay there, and you can keep making little changes. You can change how you're doing, like, maybe identity management or what's happening on your endpoints, but ultimately you're a static target. you don't have the same flexibility that your attackers do, and so you each are playing very different games. But that is it. Tony will have much more insightful conversation. Please tune in whenever Tony arrives.
Oh yeah, and we were definitely talking, like literally as he texted me, he was like, "We should talk about cybersecurity," and I was like, "Oh yeah, like what do you even want to? What path of that do you want to go down?" And I was like, we could go down. I love passwords just in general. Like passwords are so much fun to me. But I also see one of those super weird paths that I kind of put into like cybersecurity kind of thing that we're probably much more likely to talk about, Tony and I, is the path of like living off the grid, like being being able to not be tracked, being able to, live without being monitored, right? Yeah. Minimizing just the, more of the consumer life, obviously. So I think that's also, it's very minimal into the cybersecurity kind of theme, but it's another one of those topics that I just love and have read books about. Like I love to just practice living off the grid type of thing. It'd be so much fun.
Yeah. No, and with the tech for that has advanced quite a bit with, solar power generation, small scale wind power generation, water filtration as well. And then, a lot, ease in building structures, especially more modular structures, different building materials. Shameless plug for, I think it's Roman concrete, which is a really fun thing to talk about if you get the appropriate subject matter expert in. Yeah. Because Roman concrete as a building material is really neat because you'll notice like all those structures in Rome, all those columns, all those Colosseums, everything has withstood the test of time.
Yeah.
And it's taken everybody centuries to figure out what in the world is the secret with this. And it was a mixture of salt water and I believe a certain mineral together when mixing the concrete.
That. So every time it rains, it like hardens again or something?
Because it's a self-healing product.
I remember seeing that.
And so then homesteading or doing off-grid stuff, especially outside of the technology world, outside of the digital technology world, into the masonry technology world. That's where I am obsessed, whether or not I should be. I'm sure if I ever get the opportunity to build something one day, I am going to drive a poor architect nuts and just be like, oh my God, why did I get this one? He just wants everything Roman. And then, that'll just be a ton of fun. But no, getting on to more useful things and back to the,
man.
Did you have anything else you want to talk about with the Pixel Fold? Because the last 20 minutes
the Pixel Fold, man, I really, really wanted to get it. I have loved this Pixel since I got it. I'm very, very disappointed in myself that I never got one before.
Yeah.
It was always like on the list, just for years, right? It's always been on the list, but I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, but like I never got one until this one finally, and I'm so glad I did. I love it so much. I was looking so forward to the Pixel Fold, but I can't justify $1,800 for it. It just
the price is really high, and to a point I get it because you have such a strong device and it has such a large footprint from a design standpoint. There's so much hardware going into that from a manufacturing standpoint, and I think their first Fold phone. So the first couple models they put out, the Pixel Fold 2, whenever that comes out, I'm sure it'll get leaked in a week.
Year.
And so whenever that comes out, the cost is going to keep going down as time goes on, as they work out the kinks in manufacturing.
And exactly. Once they figure it out, once they know how many they should be making, once they know how many they're going to be selling, it'll all come down. But I can't justify that much.
Yeah.
But I do love that form factor a lot more than the Samsung, which is funny because out of like the regular phones that I like, I found that I have a preference towards the like thinner, taller phones. But I really, really want that short, fat Pixel Fold. It looks so nice. It looks like for a folding device, it looks like it makes so much more sense to me at least.
Yeah, no, and I think I'm interested to see how sales for that go because you have an early adopter device for a product with several iterations already on the
yeah.
market.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of Pixel fans out there
Yeah.
that are ready for something like that. However, I don't know how big that's going to be.
Yeah, I think the other thing about that is I would consider the Pixel to be one of those like cult following type of like products, right? Everybody has an Apple, everybody has a Samsung, everybody has, everybody's even heard of like Motorola and Sony and all these other phones, right? But I feel like the Pixel is one of those like cult following type of phones. And you're gonna obviously get a lot of those, enthusiasts, right? People that have Pixels and people that love them, but I don't know how that's gonna go.
Yeah, and I want to, as part of the Pixel cult that's been on it for a few generations now, and just enjoys being in like kind of the Google environment.
Yeah.
I will say we need to calm down on crapping on the Apple cult, because we are just as bad. I'll look into the camera and say we are just as bad.
Absolutely.
Because we like how it integrates with all of our other Gmail stuff. We like how it integrates with the Google environment. We like the Google Fi plans and how that cost scales.
Right.
And all that same stuff. We're just doing it later, and we think it's cooler, and it's not. It's the same thing. It's another large corporation that is making a lot of profit off of these, that has a large tech footprint, that has a major monopoly. Right. So, everybody that's on your high horse, calm it down. Yeah. I'm with you, but calm it down. So that's my, I don't know if that's a hot take. That might be a lukewarm take.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody knows. They just don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I still just miss my LG phone.
Yeah?
I wish they were still making phones.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they stopped, because they have such a stranglehold on like the computing and TV display sector. Yeah. And especially they've been really nailing that kind of like smart home, like middle class to really high end. Yeah. Display form factor, with especially if they're 86-inch like home, like 8K models and that kind of stuff. So just to see one of those manufacturers that is so good with display technology not be able to keep up with that cell phone form factor, I get it to a point, but it is really disappointing, because I think I had an LG at one point. I've used other LG products. I've always been a huge fan of the brand. Yeah. So but everybody's gonna have that one phone. I'm sure there's people that are still wishing for a Nokia again, that wish they would have something just as durable. Yeah, exactly.
Right here. Okay, as soon as you mentioned Nokia, LG, get out of here, dude. Yeah. Give me my Nokias back, man. They make some crazy phones too. Yeah, crazy good phones. I love those.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Nokia.
Oh man, good times. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. We'll get some good devices back eventually, and I don't know. I think the Pixel Fold has some potential. I'm excited to see. Yeah. I'm excited to see how it fares. Honestly, it's kind of surprising to me. I didn't think that the folding phones were gonna even make it this far. Yeah. Like, it's kind of crazy to me that they're still around, and Samsung and now Google, right, are pushing them so hard, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, I can see like the very small use cases for them. If you use both your phone and a tablet like very often, or if you just use your phone for a lot of things that include things like media, watching videos, watching movies, playing games, then I could see. But otherwise, I just don't. There's a reason I haven't bought a folding phone yet, right? Like
I will say, as someone that has really enjoyed mobile racing games and some of those like spaceship games, you're able to fly around in like a 3D environment. Yeah. Oh, that would be so nice from a control perspective, and like there's so much visibility. It'd be so immersive, and especially with a higher refresh rate on that display. Yeah, it'd be gorgeous. But also, I'm mainly using mine to check text messages and do phone calls and pay bills. So like I'm good. Yeah. And I think now we can probably transition to another thing that people are going to be missing is LTT's management change coming up in the next couple weeks. So I've always been really big into leadership, and this has been something that I'm very excited to see.
Yeah.
But I think I want to let you take the lead on this one.
Gosh.
If you want, I can ramble.
Yeah, that's about all I would do is ramble about it. I mean, I think that he's a fantastic person, but like we were talking about before, I don't think he should have ever been a CEO of a company, right?
Yeah.
He started something really cool because he was passionate about a specific thing, but he was not specifically passionate about being like a CEO, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of tech companies that do stuff like that. A lot of the previous jobs I've had, like I had a lot of terrible managers in the tech world that got promoted because they were really, really, really good at the technology job that they had. So they got promoted to be the manager of that team. And that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Because if they're really, really good at the technical job, that means they're not a good manager. Like almost 100% of the time, that's like not the case, right?
Yeah.
So again, I don't know how he is as a CEO. I'm sure he's fine, right?
Yeah.
But he obviously has run everything up till now.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the way that I understand it is that if you're not like built for that, right? He's obviously built for something else.
Yeah. Well, and I think this could not have been better timed, because it's not like he drove everything into the ground and went, oh man, that sure wasn't a good idea. He went, wow, we've reached this precipice where we are this big. We're making this much money. We have this much under our hood. I can't scale with this.
Yeah.
I have my skills. I've grown. I've learned how to do it. But this is not what I can keep up with. And that hurts so many companies, not knowing when you've kind of outgrown your leaders. And it's a really big problem with founders, not just in the tech world, but in the business world.
Oh, yeah.
So many people with a founder mentality do not run an enterprise well, or cannot do it at all.
Right.
They're not built for that. They're too involved. They're too hands-on. They're always going to limit it. They need to be involved in everything, and that isn't going to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a decision that's clearly been a long time in the making from the largely memed yeah.
And it was something that they, in his video, right as he was saying something about how he made some comment about how he hasn't been great at the job recently, and they showed him like the now meme clip of him like running naked downstairs to his computer because the YouTube channel was hacked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't think that had anything to do with it, do you? Like,
yeah.
like,
it does not. No, that's someone. I think that's someone poking fun, because
that's just.
He handled that pretty well. I can say in his shoes, I would have just kind of crapped my non-existent pants and not known what to done. To have done that. That was incredibly well handled considering the circumstances.
Right.
But no, I think this is something I'm very glad to see. Also, the way that he's been so open about it and talked about it from different angles, and had other people like Luke come in and talk with him about it, and he's talked about how it's affected like his physical and mental health, the health of his company. This is something a lot of people don't think about or see, and this is one of the greatest things about platforms like YouTube and the advent of the internet is people that might only just be getting a start in business, or just be interested in business, or just be watching this for entertainment, get one of the hardest lessons about kind of scaling management with business taught to them without them having to go through any of it. I mean, because for the people that take their time and listen to this, they are saving themselves so much pain and frustration, and a lot of other people a lot of pain and frustration down the road, because once those leaders are kind of in that position, it's a little hard to talk them out of it. They generally are pretty happy where they're at, and they have a hard time seeing it. But no, like that's another thing where technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. That's something that I'm just so glad to see. It's a great teaching moment for everybody involved, and I wish him all the best. I am very glad to see that's going a different direction, and I don't expect anything to slow down over there anytime soon. No. They are a content machine.
Yeah, honestly, I see that as super good news. Like, they're doing so well that
Yeah.
he feels that comfortable stepping back and just saying, all right, cool, this is working.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna let somebody else run the day to day. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need to do that anymore, right?
Yeah. No, it's really, really good. So, yeah, I can gush about it a while longer, but I think I've put out anything useful already.
I love his videos are just amazing, and I aspire to be like that someday. I always love how they always, like, when you look at the thumbnail and the title, you're just like, oh, this is gonna be just some clickbait like joke, and then you click into it and you're like, oh, yep, I was right. And then he goes on some tangent and you're like, I just learned so much.
Yeah.
Like, I am 10 times smarter now because I watched that video. And you're like, I don't know what it was about. I don't know what, like, so the video I just watched today, I don't know if it just came out today or was yesterday or something, but they made a water-cooled bed.
Yeah. That was today.
Okay, it was. And that's one of those. I always know it doesn't even matter what the video is on.
Yeah.
I can turn on his videos and just enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
Because they're entertaining and they're super educational.
Yeah.
Like, everything that he does is he makes it educational somehow.
Yeah, Bill
And I'm
Nye
sure
for
it's-
IT.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he's got some fantastic writers behind him,
Oh,
right?
he does. Yeah. Yeah,
I
I wish I had a writing team like that.
Yeah,
Those guys are
dude.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, because his videos are always so good. And yeah, like you said, they crank them out multiple a day type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
can't imagine what that process looks like.
Yeah, that's exhausting to think about. But yeah.
Yeah. I think it's about time to go get the hot dogs.
What?
Sorry. This is what we were talking about on last week's stream.
Yeah.
We were talking about creating a new business. So since I figured this was a good segue from our conversation about not being, the CEO when you're the founder of a business. Well, I'm starting a new business, and I'm looking for somebody to lead that business.
Yeah.
No. So we're basically going to start delivering hot dogs via drone.
Yeah.
So we were talking, so I've got my drone over here. So we were talking, how many hot dogs do you think that this drone could carry?
Is that an African hot dog or a European hot dog to do the Monty Python reference?
I love that reference. But we were talking more as like fully loaded hot dogs or like bearskin hot dogs.
See, I don't think there's any point in delivering a bearskin hot dog, because if you're not delivering the hot dog with the bun, the relish, and the mustard, like, what?
I mean, I could see it both ways. You could do both, offer both, right?
Yeah.
Because you could offer the fully loaded for somebody to eat, but also, hey, we're about to barbecue, but I forgot the hot dogs, right? Like that aspect of it. And so, yeah, I just want to get a dozen hot dogs so I can feed all of my friends at my house.
Yeah.
So I went and bought some hot dogs, and I need to figure out how many this can carry.
All right. Are we going and looking at the spec sheet and then measuring, or are we trial and erroring?
Oh, this is 100% a trial and error type.
That's going to be way more entertaining. So I will man the fort here.
No. I mean, I wasn't actually going to do it in this house. I'm kind of interested, but I feel like this is going to be a separate YouTube video. I need to do this outside when it's like daylight out.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't do it right now.
That sounds like a good idea.
It also sounded like we had a visitor, but nobody's coming down the stairs. So
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Man, that was a segue to something that just. I need another drink, I think is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. I think that is a lot of promise, and there's, that is part of a growing sector of delivery of grocery and other food items.
I don't think that's ever going anywhere.
Yeah?
As much of a drone enthusiast as I am, So I've had my pilot's license since 2017 to fly drones commercially. Just renewed it.
Yeah.
So it's good for another 2 years now. And I don't think that drone delivery is going anywhere. The only time that drone delivery makes sense is one where like land is impassable.
Yeah.
So you've seen a lot of it over in like Africa or like far like Eastern European countries where it's like really mountainous and just there's no like road infrastructure.
Yeah.
So like, hey, I need to get this medication over there.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no way to like hike this or like drive it over there. Yeah. Somebody would need to physically carry this like over that mountain, and it's like a 2-day trip. Somebody walking but it's like 3 miles.
Yeah,
like that's where a drone just flying this over there it makes more sense.
Yeah, no, that does. I will say drones have already been employed in a couple different cases to move less than legal materials from one location to another, which also leads to a fun point of anti-drone drones and that fun march of technology of like, oh, the defense got better, the offense gets better, then the defense gets better, then the offense gets better.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's just all the auto drones droning each other.
I can see that.
Well, no, I don't think it's ever going to be huge because people are still, especially in the U.S., everybody is still too independent and mobile.
Yeah.
I think were there like another global health crisis and people were unable to move around more readily in a safe way, then I could see something like that popping up. But in absence of a catastrophe such as that, I think the need will always be a bit lower.
I could see it being like, imagine this: you're in like 100-story, apartment skyscraper in New York or something, right? But I still see like those drones that would be able to like just fly up and deliver you something would still be owned by like the hotel.
Yeah,
like that makes more sense. Or not hotel, the apartment complex.
Yeah.
Like Amazon would still deliver like a bunch of packages just to the front door, and then they just go, oh, drone programmed to this hotel or this apartment, and it just fly it up there and drop it on your balcony or something.
Yeah,
I could see that, but I don't think that drone delivery is going anywhere.
No, and I do love I still love the visuals of it. I might have romanticized it a little bit too much, and I might be too close to it because still like the idea of like the drone hubs spitting out all the little drones and just that kind of imagery of like, oh, sci-fi come to life. I love it. I think I'm just too excited there. Yeah. But no, I don't. It hasn't really taken off that much anywhere, has it?
Yeah, no. As far as I know, it has not.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are obviously testing it, but again, I think you're running into the same issues that we were talking about before with the phones becoming laptops. Like to get this device to have the power and the battery and the range and everything to even be able to do that job properly. Like I just don't think we're there yet. It's going to be such a small subset of people that are in range of something like that, and then you can only order the products in such a small subset of what can be carried by the drone.
Yeah,
and then you're still like it. Then the other thing is you still have to like find some sort of drop-off zone, and there's all this like setup that goes on like your side.
Yeah,
it just.
Yeah, so I would mark it as an improbable.
Yeah.
Because this reminds me of the conversation from I think before I was born, of no one's gonna put cell phone towers everywhere. It's gonna be all satellites, and here we are.
Yeah.
And it actually ended up being more pragmatic to put these little towers everywhere.
Yeah.
As visually or not appealing as it may be.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, I mean, I can think of certain scenarios, but they're so They're
Yeah.
so far
Well,
in the
and
future
each of
at
these-
this point.
There's so many variables to consider in all of it. And that was the
Right.
same thing, right? With the cell phone towers that didn't exist all at once. There were advancements in multiple fields of technology.
Yeah.
They were thinking about how people are grouped together and where the needs were and what the market was doing.
Yeah.
And so the drone thing is the same. And unfortunately, none of us have a good crystal ball.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like
No.
I see something more along the lines, like something that is more probable is like you get a cargo plane
No.
that just flies over an area and it's got all of your packages with some sort of like mini disposable drone that's not really for flying. It's more about like positioning. And they just drop packages and it's able to position it over your house and just drop down. But again, it's so you'd have to go like online and map like this is the GPS location that I want it to drive. It's so it doesn't make sense to me. Not
Yeah.
yet. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think it's way too early for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, for your hot dog case, I'm excited to see where it goes. That could be quite a bit of fun.
So that was the quote of the stream. Last stream was talking about delivering hot dogs, and my guest Colton, who was on here last week, said he did not want his hot dogs anywhere near those propellers.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Messes
It's all
up
good.
the mustard, you know. It's
Yeah.
got to be laid on there just right.
Because everyone eating a hot dog is concerned about aesthetics. Yes.
Oh man. All right. What else did we have on our list? I know we
I've-
talked about a few things.
I have exhausted kind of what was kind of top of my mind.
Okay. All right.
If you've got anything, I'm happy to go back and forth on it.
So this is one of those things I always like make a list in my head and then nothing ever comes back to my head when I need to
Yeah.
recall it. Oh, here's my list of like just generic questions. But this always brings us back to like the beginning of our conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, so like we can talk about a variety of different things. We can talk about new tech that's just been announced, other happenings in the world. I mean, mortgage industry specific technology.
did you post about this on Facebook or
Nah.
anything? No.
Completely forgot.
Oh shoot, this is somebody. I just got a new subscriber. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, it's not who I thought it was. Never mind. Welcome to the stream, Hans. I am not. I mean, I am on Twitch. My my Twitch name is what I'm posting in chat there, Meaty Mitts, but I'm not currently streaming to Twitch. I honestly abandoned Twitch quite a long time ago. I'm still on there every day, but I have not streamed on Twitch in a very, very long time. I like YouTube now, but thank you. I appreciate the sub and welcome to the stream.
I am not streaming anywhere. I am a freeloader piggybacking on people like Devon. So big thanks to him.
Oh man, well this is I love having people on the stream. Anybody that can come into the pub and be on here. This is like I said, we could absolutely do like virtual, chats and interviews and talking. But man, it's so much more fun to be able to have people come in here and chat from the pub.
Well, and your background and your lighting setup is quite a bit better than mine. Additionally, I don't have a tap, so I will say that's a major
nice.
feature loss.
When you say only on YouTube, I am only streaming on YouTube. I obviously have other social medias. You can find me almost, oh my gosh, this dumb shift key. Almost everywhere else, like Twitter and Instagram and all of that stuff, at Devon Schreiner, TikTok, all of those things. That's where I'm at. But we're not streaming anywhere else. This is a YouTube only stream. Hopefully, my goal is to once once we get these types of streams and interviews and chats, I don't want to get them too much more structured.
Yeah.
But I'd like to start going into them, especially when I have a guest like yourself. A couple of not standard even questions, but just some stuff that we're going to talk about. Once I get that kind of stuff figured out and going forward, hopefully the goal is that I have more free time to kind of cut these up and use them as other content, right, and be able to post this stuff elsewhere. So it should hopefully be on more different things. So yeah, I am on TikTok. Again, I don't post there super regularly, and I'm not streaming there right now, but definitely am on TikTok, and that is my username there. If you scroll down on in the description, it'll have my link tree as well in the description, and that has literally every link in there if you are looking for that. How did you find the stream, Hans? I always find that super interesting, how people find me, because I'm still at the point now where I'm still small enough where every single subscriber, like, I don't want to say like I go in and like investigate, but I like, wait, do I know this person?
Yeah.
I go and click on it, like I'll check out your profile and stuff, like your YouTube channel. I'm still small enough where I always do that. So I love figuring out where you found me from, so that if you found me on any other social media platform, or was it actually YouTube that brought you here? The YouTube algorithm is so interesting.
Yeah.
That's the one that I've been studying for the last year, which actually we're getting really close to a year. Obviously, I haven't been on YouTube a lot longer than that. I've posted a lot of videos, but that is so June 14th is the day that I posted my first like new video going forward, and kind of rebranded the channel. It was actually talking about my LG Wing phone.
Yep.
So that one, June 14th, is going to be my year of like really studying YouTube, just trying as hard as I can to figure it out, and learning all about video making and all of this stuff all over again. So I'm super excited, and I've already started brainstorming a ton of different ideas for a. Oh, you found me an LG Wing. Nice.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yes. I love my Wing. Actually, we are recording, we're using the LG Wing as the camera right now. So I can't even go and grab it because I'm using it right now.
Yeah. It's doing a great job.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you found the LG Wing stuff. Yeah. So even that's why I remade my another like LG Wing video like a month ago.
Yeah.
A full-length video on just how it was holding up in 2023 and all of that, because it's such a fun phone and I love it so much. I wish so much that we would have got a version 2 of that phone, because so cool. And I still, oh man, I wish that we would have got a version 2. Because again, just like we're talking about the Google Fold, the Pixel Fold, that's one of those phones that like I probably won't get this first one. I will be much, much more likely to get the version 2 because it's probably going to be better. They're going to fix all of the version 1 stuff that's wrong. It's probably going to be cheaper. It's going to be way better. Like, we just know that, right? That's how version 2s go. That's why when I finally got the Wing, I was so excited. I'm like, I love this thing so much. Can't wait for version number 2 because it's going to be so much better. And then we didn't get it. So,
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad you found the channel through the LG Wing. Hopefully you have a Wing. Do you have an LG Wing, or you were going down the YouTube rabbit hole of LG Wings?
We also do lament the passing of LG's phone sector. That is sorely missed.
Oh man, yeah, they had some really cool phones. They have so many good ideas too, like the second screen case.
Yeah.
Like, why is nobody doing that?
Yeah, because that from a modularity standpoint, That makes so much more sense to me, because especially
Yeah.
you can do like a battery platform as well. Like you can
Yes!
create this fully modular platform where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you have your base phone, and it's like, okay, your case is going to have a battery or a second screen,
Yeah.
or maybe like maybe like some kind of weird mobile stream deck in case you're doing a lot of like mobile streaming.
Cool. Are
And
you
then, yeah.
familiar with the Motorola Z Force phone?
No, I'm
okay.
not.
That was a modular phone. So it was it had a bunch of different back plates that you could attach to it. They had just like regular case backs. They had a camera, like full on digital camera back. They had a projector back. They had like all of these crazy modular that were literally just like a magnet you just stick on the back of your phone. And again, one of those things like ridiculously cool, but they killed it and they were like, oh yeah, we're just not gonna do that anymore. So
Yeah.
have I seen the custom LG Wing gaming handheld? Is that the one where they took just the back screen and turned it into a like a emulator screen?
Yeah, that was gorgeous.
I've seen the one where they took where the guy took just the little square screen on the back square screen and turned it into a gaming handheld. If it's not that one, I don't know if I'm familiar with it. But that was, oh man, 100%. That was the only disappointment I think I had with the Wing. Was the gaming capabilities of it.
Yeah.
I was so excited when I got that phone. I'm like, emulators on this are going to be out of this world, right? Being able to have your controls on the bottom. There's someone in China that made a custom LG Wing gaming handheld with controller on the sides and the screen square
Okay, yeah.
in the middle. Yeah, okay, so I might be thinking of the same one, and I've seen at least something like that, and that's super cool. It's such a nice little extra screen there too. It's so, again, every time I think about it, I'm like, why is nobody else doing this?
Yeah.
Makes so much more sense to me than the folding phone ever did, and it's just always a disappointment.
Yeah.
Did you need a refill?
I'm good for right now.
Sir?
Thank you.
Okay. Do you need a water or anything?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
But yeah, so I'm glad you found this stream. Unfortunately, I don't. Like I said, we don't stream anywhere else at this point, but we do. I do talk about the LG Wing a lot, and that's what most of my YouTube shorts have been about the LG Wing because it's such a cool little phone.
Yeah. In good news, I am a rotating guest. I am only here once, so you do not have to put up with me often. He's still the star of the show.
I mean, hopefully you'll be back.
Yeah.
My thoughts on mobile gaming. So, I mean, specifically talking about the Wing, that's where I was at. I was so disappointed that the Wing was not better equipped to do emulators and other mobile gaming. So, obviously, they pushed things like, oh, from Norway. That's awesome. Well, welcome into the stream. So they literally built the modded Asphalt 9 for the Wing to have like the map and extras down on the secondary screen. I'm like, that's awesome. But again, that's one of those form factor things that you have to build it for the Wing, right? So I was like, okay, well, no problem. I don't need games that are built for it, right? I'll just literally get an emulator, play whatever game I want, and have these awesome controls. Well, the problem was I ran into a bunch of different problems, but the problem with the phone running the multiple screens and multiple apps was just the way that the phones want to do multiple apps is that it puts one like into this stasis. So every time you try to use a different app on the bottom, it puts like your game into it like suspends it.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't want to do anything anymore. So it's kind of weird. But I was like, okay, whatever. So I finally found a key mapping application. But then you had to root it, and then you had to do these weird things where you start the keyboard up. You have to map it for every game that you're playing, and then you look at the power of the phone, and guess what? You can only run up to like some like N64 type of emulator games. And guess what? All games up until that point are still 4:3 resolution, so they don't cover like
The whole screen.
You're literally playing in this much of the screen anyways. There's just black bars coming out, and I'm like, okay, well, so the mobile gaming on the LG Wing, I literally made a video, and I started it. I started the script with the LG Wing is the best mobile gaming phone, because I was so excited for like those functionalities, right?
Yeah.
And then the more I discovered and the more I dove into it, the worse it was. And I was like, this actually isn't any better. It was such a hassle that I ended up being that it was just not any better than that. But mobile gaming, honestly, I don't end up doing a ton of it. We actually talked to mobile games last week too. For the most part, almost the only mobile games that I play anymore are like the things that I can almost do at the same time that I'm playing like a PC game.
Yeah. Multi-gaming. Yeah.
like they're the idle games that I can like look down and like, oh, tap a couple more times. Okay, cool. Like go back to my PC game.
Yeah.
I obviously have played a ton of like Wild Rift and TFT. Those are my games on PC. So I play them on the phone when I have to, when I don't have access to a PC. But those are, again, if I have the option, I will almost always play those types of games on my PC. Like why? For me, it's just I don't know why I would play like League of Legends on my phone when I could play it on my PC. Yeah. I also get I think half of it is I get really sweaty hands.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work on a screen after I'm playing. Like I get halfway through a game of something and my hands just start sweating and sticking and all that stuff. So I don't know what games you play. Do you play any mobile games at all?
Not many anymore.
Yeah.
And so in like high school, I was constantly on the move, and I was, in public transit all the time. So I was sitting there with time to kill, or I'd be in a study hall. Whether or not I had things done, I would be taking that time and playing a game. So there's a lot more happening there, and I really enjoyed having that handheld experience to pass the time. But since then, as I've had my time more kind of directed in my own way and more control over it, I've had less of an interest in it, and especially in some of the games that I've had access to, because I've looked at ones like The Outer Worlds that I really enjoyed on PC, and it's like, okay, well, cool, you can get that on something like a Nintendo Switch. Yeah. But I'm like, why do I want to go to a much smaller screen with a different control set that's stuck on battery life and operate that when I'm not in that environment? And so, like, for me, it's that environmental factor. I'm not on the move constantly. Yeah. I'd rather just go and sit and be in an area where I am gaming. But there's a lot of other ones I've enjoyed in the past. There have been a couple different like space-themed games that I cannot remember the name of. Way too much tower defense style games. Way too many of those.
Yeah,
Very nice for multitasking.
Oh, I just uninstalled it. What was it called? I just had a tower defense game. Shoot.
I've been just doing the balloon ones.
Okay, this was Was it Rush? It's not Rush Royale. Was it? Rush Royale? That might be it. I don't know. Something like that. I was just playing one of those. But I actually just... Yep, that was it. Rush Royale. I just actually installed it like a couple days ago. Yeah. Software support, if you're talking about the Wing, I did get Android 13 to the Wing not long ago. I don't know. It was probably a month or two ago that it got. I finally got the update to Android 13. So as far as that goes, LG is definitely still, supporting that and getting some new updates out there. It did break some things. So like that Asphalt 9 integration that I was talking about earlier. Once you update I don't know if it has anything to do with Android 13 or not, but after I saw somebody on the LG Wing subreddit talking about how they're pretty sure that the Android 13 update broke Asphalt 9 and like the multi-screen integration. So yeah, I went and after I updated, loaded it up. Sure enough, yep, the map stuff just doesn't work. It's just black when you play Asphalt now. So like, it's kind of like iffy. And I know again, LG has nothing to do with that Asphalt, right? But yeah, it's just kind of one of those dang, you know. Like, oh, okay, well, they are updating it. Like, it's still getting some security updates, right? But it's definitely not the support that anybody wanted, right?
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is.
Man, Hans, you've got us covered on questions. We were like hitting a dry run until you popped up. So thank you for carrying the team here.
Definitely appreciate it. And let's be honest, man, I could talk about this LG Wing forever. Yeah. I love it. And it's this moment that I'm like, I wish that I had it like sitting in front of me. If we weren't streaming from it, I could go and switch it out really quick, honestly. But, well, unless I put my Pixel up there. I don't have the apps on any of my other phones.
You're familiar enough with the device to not pull it out. Let's just keep going as we are. And
yeah, it's not like the camera can see it like super well from over here, but it's such a cool phone. You've been playing Fortnite on your phone. Usually play mobile games that have cross-platform, cross-progression.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I've been playing a bunch of TFT. It's another League of Legends game. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I've actually been playing, not gonna lie, a ton of Fortnite on PC. I have not been playing on phone because again, it's so hard for me to do like a first-person shooter, not even first-person shooter, but like just those kinds of games like Fortnite on my phone. Like my hands just start sweating thinking about playing Fortnite on my phone.
Well, and for shooters on handhelds, regardless of the platform, like I remember having a Nintendo DS, I remember playing on an iPad, I remember playing on a mobile phone. I've never enjoyed shooters on a mobile device because it's so fast-paced and so action-packed that it doesn't, for me, it's never felt good. Now, I obviously am one use case here. I'm like one person, right? Because you look at like Breath of the Wild, which is very involved from a control standpoint, and people love that game. They play it as much as they can. I think the sequel was just released, and that's been a lot of rave reviews there. Yeah, no, because it looks fantastic.
It's taken a few hours of my life this week.
It's fantastic, yeah.
It's really
but no, so for me, it's just the controls have always been a little bit clunkier. Now, this is where I also have to say, like, I grew up like playing original Super Nintendo, and then PlayStation 2 and Nintendo DS, and then eventually I moved on to like Xbox 360 and Xbox controllers, and even on PC, I'm still regularly playing with controllers, so take that as you will. I'm sorry, and I'm not. It's still a preferred controller set for me. But
I mean, I get it, but I've tried to switch back to controller. Like when Halo Infinite came out, I really, really tried to switch back to controller. Couldn't do it. I went like weeks playing only on controller, and I'm like,
yeah,
keyboard and mouse is just so much better.
Well, and I think one of the things that you're talking about there, Hans, with that cross-platform and cross-progression, that is something I would love to see across more games, because that, I mean, if you really want to get your return on investment as a developer, that's a great way to go. You have a take on this.
I do. And I was going to say the exact opposite. So, I mean, I kind of get the idea of, like, like, it's also nice. I understand why, I can play Fortnite on my PC, and then I can play it on my Xbox, on my TV, and then I can play it on my phone when I'm out somewhere else, right? I get that, and why you would want to do that. I also get it from a business perspective, right? Like, yes, just keep playing our game literally wherever you are.
And buy it across multiple platforms for the same price for each of them.
Yes. So I get all of those things. But for me, when I've played different games, I feel like, at least when you're on mobile, when the experience is better when it is made for mobile.
Yeah.
Right? Like... So I played, it's a game called T3 Arena a little bit. It's a shooter. It's a mobile shooter. It's very like Overwatch style, and I had way more fun with that than almost any of these other, like PUBG Mobile, or like Fortnite or any of those, just because I think it was made for mobile. So I feel like it feels better. It's a better experience when you're gaming. Yeah. So I feel like if I was gonna game, I know I said like I play TFT on my mobile because of the cross progression stuff, but if I really just wanted to play a mobile game, I would probably pick a game like that's mobile only, because I feel like they're just better on mobile than some of these other cross platforms. You love shooters on mobile and many other types of games. You're active in the mobile gaming community. That's awesome. More mobile games getting cross-platform and cross-progression. That's awesome. I've actually started following a ton of Wild Rift people on Twitter and stuff, just because I really do like. So Wild Rift is just the mobile version of League of Legends. Yeah. I've always been a League of Legends person, and when that came out, I played so much of it because it's such. Even though it's basically a copy and paste of League of Legends, it is entirely built from the ground up for mobile. It is a different game. It's not a. If you looked at it, you would never know the difference. It's 100% a different game for me. Yeah. Not just because it's on mobile, but it's just a different game. But it's so I played a lot of that, and I think that it's just a fantastic standalone game by itself. So I've followed a bunch of those people, and then I found a bunch of other random mobile gaming people just in the community, and for the most part, every time I find somebody, they're awesome people. Yeah. I found another guy that is in town here that has a mobile gaming YouTube channel. Plays a lot of like Call of Duty Mobile and Apex Mobile and things like that. Super fun. And then we have Clout Shot in the chat as well. Welcome. I've got the drone. I've got the hot dogs upstairs. We're about to launch. We're about to go live with this business. This is Clout Shot is the one who was here last week. Yeah. I literally, Katie went to the store today, and I called her. And I said, "Can you get some hot dogs?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, please. I was like, I have a good idea for my stream tonight.
But it's for science.
And she's like, no, I'm not getting hot dogs so that you can try to tape them onto the bottom of your drone. She did get the hot dogs, so they're upstairs.
Yeah.
We'll probably end up, grilling them tomorrow or something.
Well, and again, I don't think you were here earlier for this. I am team must have condiments on a bun here, right? Like, you do not serve that. Also, as well, like one thing I want to add here to help your guys' business along. I don't need any credit or money for this. But one thing I would recommend is doing like one of the tinfoil wraps or something like that to preserve the heat as you're going from one location to another. Now, if you're doing the grocery delivery, maybe that's where you get like a small cooler or something like that. Or if you're just minutes away, then don't worry.
So much extra weight to it, but as well, when you're talking about it, how long do you think that a hot dog would stay warm? Is if as soon as you bring it up above the buildings and there's a bunch of wind up there, like how long do you think it's going to stay warm?
Also depends on how
it's a hot day, right?
And that depends on how warm it is. So you've got all these different factors. The foil wrap. There we go. See, that makes sense. So and that's where it's like, can I get a can you develop a drone that has maybe a heating system built in, so you can basically have like one of those? All the heat
just goes down onto the dog.
Yeah, all the heat from that itty bitty electric motor. One Fahrenheit.
Yeah, got to be something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, keeping them hot and fresh. So Hans also asked, what phone are you getting next with LG not making phones anymore? So I have had 7 phones since my LG Wing now.
Spoiled.
I still obviously have and use my LG Wing, but I buy a lot of phones. So I'm currently using a Google Pixel 7. That is my daily driver at the moment. I also have a Nothing Phone 1 that I have been kind of switching back and forth between my Pixel and that right now. But I am most likely going to sell that, hopefully in prep for a Nothing Phone 2. So originally, I got the Nothing Phone 1, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. But as soon as the Pixel Fold comes out, I'm selling the Nothing Phone for the Pixel Fold.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I'm probably not going to get the Pixel Fold. So I'm probably going to sell the Nothing Phone 1 and get... At this point in time, again, they haven't announced everything about the Nothing Phone 2. But it's looking pretty solid right now.
Yeah.
Looking pretty solid.
I'm glad to see you're selling the phones and not hoarding them
Some
kind of like
I really
phone array.
want to. I really want to hoard all of them.
Yeah.
Like the Nothing Phone is another one of those phones that I really want to keep just to keep it. But I'll probably end up selling it. I really, really wanted to keep that Oppo League of Legends phone, but I ended up selling it for like $900. Yeah, and I'm like, I can't just, because I discovered that I could not like properly use it as a phone. So it was literally going to sit on my desk or sit on a shelf wherever and be just the pretty phone I have, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
and
I can't.
and as a non-gamer here, so I'm on the Pixel 6 Pro now, just for daily use and productivity. Pixel 8 will probably be the next thing that I'm on whenever that gets leaked and or announced. So that'll be just the vanilla flagship. I'll keep rolling with those. I'm happy to be part of the Pixel cult, for better or for worse.
Yep.
So there is that. Also, hello, nice to meet you too.
This is the Limitless brew that we had the other night. It is really good. It's like beer and orange juice. It's fantastic.
But better. But better. It's not what is that? There's a term for that.
Shandy.
No, there's a I'm thinking of a worse thing. Let's move on. So there's so like not quite a shandy.
So you're not getting the Fold? I don't think so. Not at $1,800. It's really expensive. I also, I'm very, I don't want to say against Gen 1 products, but I did not get the Nothing Phone 1 at release because that scares the crap out of me. I got it after everything was fixed. And I could see the Google Pixel Fold. I'm not going to get it day one. One, because of the price. Two, because I don't like Gen 1 phones. I don't like Gen 1 thing. But after 6 months, a year, I would be much more likely, when it is very much on sale and very much all of the issues fixed, much more likely to get it. I would love to match. If somebody bought it for me, though, I would use the crap out of it. I would love it. It is really expensive. Yeah, there's a bunch of different reasons it's expensive. Again, mostly because it's a Gen 1 phone. They're trying to figure everything out. It's just going to be expensive. My thoughts on the Surface Duo phone. Man, do I want that to succeed. I have had at least a Duo phone in my eBay and Amazon shopping carts, this close to pushing the purchase button so many times. But I also know that it's one of those things where I would end up getting rid of it and not using it all the time too, right? I would love to have one, but again, I just think they're too expensive for how much I would use it. And again, I think a very, very niche audience for those, right? The fact that it doesn't have a front screen makes me really nervous.
Yeah.
That you have to open it every single time. I don't like that. But the fact that it does have the two separate screens makes more sense again to me. Just like the LG Wing makes more sense to me than some of these other folding phones. That was my main problem with the Samsung Fold, was that when you open it up, all of a sudden you got this square screen. There's no app on the marketplace that is square.
Yeah.
That is built for that screen. It didn't make sense to me. So at least on the Surface Duo, you have basically 2 phones now. You have 2 phones. And guess what? Apps fit great on those 2 phones. So I think it's super cool. I am not huge on the multitasking though.
Yep.
Because and again, one of the reasons I love the Wing is because one of the screens is widescreen and one of them is just, the square. So at least on the multitasking that makes sense to me is watching a video and scrolling Twitter.
Yeah.
Watching Twitch and sending a text message at the same time. Watching YouTube and, scrolling a social media. That's what the multitasking that makes sense to me. So the Surface Duo does not do well at that either.
Yeah.
Right? At least with one of the folding phones, like you can change the screen sizes and the way that they work. So again, I love the Surface Duos. I would love to have one, but again, I don't think that I would use one enough to justify the price. And again, I know that the original one is getting pretty darn cheap. You can find them pretty cheap, but I also know somebody with one. So I used to work for Microsoft, and I know a bunch of people that still work for Microsoft that have Surface Duo phones. So I have asked before if I could steal them for like a week and play with it. I think I need to push harder on that because they're super fun.
Have you thought about the LG the Lenovo Think phones?
Oh man,
at all?
I would love. Look, I'm using a Lenovo computer right now, and this is my like 4th or 5th Lenovo laptop.
Yeah.
I love Lenovo.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that phone, I was like, sign me up. It is so cool looking.
Yeah.
I love those carbon fiber laptops that they have. They're so nice. To have that material on a phone, like, oh my gosh, that's just sounds so cool.
Yeah.
The like red button and everything, like it's so good. I really want one.
I think all the Lenovo fans are going to be really excited,
Yep.
and everybody else is going to be very confused because I'm a big Lenovo fan,
Right?
and my initial reaction was I was like, wow, that's really cool, and I'm like, how's that going to work in execution? Like, what's the draw? And then I like read into it some more, and I'm like, okay, I see.
really
Like
cool.
Aesthetically, it makes sense. It's
Yeah.
kind of in that same
Yep.
Lenovo product family. They're offering more that's handy for like information technology teams. So for those companies that do have to do mobile device management and provide those mobile phones, I see why it would be handy. So for enterprises, it seems like a really cool idea.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are happy with their company provided iPhones that are going to be angry when they get stuck with a Think phone. But
I mean, it seems very like they're trying to be the BlackBerry now. All of a sudden, like, oh, I mean, this market's open, right? Can we just kind of fit in here and be that?
Yeah.
Which I think they very well could
Yeah.
do that. Like, it's very possible. I would love one of those phones again.
Yeah.
I would use. That's one of those I would use the crap out of and love it because I love my Lenovo laptops. Like every single one of them I've had, which I should probably tell you about this one.
Yeah.
But it might be an off-stream thing. I got it at a garage sale for $5.
Wow. You lucky duck.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
That'll be a later conversation.
And I've talked about it like 3 or 4 different times on stream already because I've had it for a while now. But so we were talking about the LG Velvet with the secondary display case. I would definitely go for something like that at this point. If the again, if LG was still making phones, if they made a 2023 version of that, I would be so down for that. I would be more excited about that than any of these folding phones. Completely honest.
Yeah.
I just the fact that I could just take it out of that case and look, now I have like, okay, I'm gonna go for a run. Like, I'll just take my phone. I don't need to take the second case screen, like whatever, right? So just to be able to take it out, use it separately, put it back in the case. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be something I would be super excited about. And again, I was just talking about your you've got the Surface Duo setup where you've got basically 2 phone screens, right? And not a big square. But so yeah, I would definitely be down for that if they were still making it. But it's just unfortunate the farther we get away from the release of those things, just the less appealing it is.
Yeah.
Just because they're older technology.
Yeah.
And less support, right? Everything is just getting old.
Yeah, well, and it gets old faster.
Yep.
So there's
Exactly.
it's not built to last. Yeah.
Yep. Yup, those LG stuff. Man, they made some really cool stuff, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I would buy a Lenovo phone though.
Yeah. It's just such a fun concept. It's so attractive. It's like one of those like knickknacks that you find at a small store, and you're like, I know this is silly, but I gotta buy it. This is just too much fun.
Yeah. Yep, I've definitely looked at those.
Yeah.
I would drive one of those. Those are super cool.
Yeah.
I've really been looking hard at the new Sony phone that was just released. The Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. I've heard some just amazing things about it. Especially obviously the camera. Sony's kind of has that market, and apparently they've done. Again, I've never had a Sony phone. It's always been one of those that I've looked at, but I've never gotten one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Pixel situation where I've like, it's always been on my list. Like those look really cool, but I've never just pulled the trigger and got one.
No.
But yeah, apparently that one is a lot of issues fixed. So.
Well, and that's quite a high cost. However, the specs on that are
no, it's
ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that makes me nervous about the camera is something that we learned with the new Samsung phone, the S23 Ultra that's out now. You know, the 200 megapixel camera, blah, 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 all this stuff. Like, okay, but here's the thing, is I'm not a professional photographer. So having all of those insane specs and lenses in a phone don't help me if I don't know how to use them.
Yeah.
That's the phone that you still need to know how to use to take a picture. And that's part of the reason why I love this Google Pixel so much. Because you don't need to know how to run a camera.
Yeah.
It just takes fantastic pictures.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things I loved when I switched to the 6 Pro was I had that 20 times optical zoom built in, and I was like, whoa, I've never had this before. This
Right?
is insane.
Yeah.
And then the way that you could actively edit photos as well, kind of smudging things out.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that it automatically suggests edits pretty intelligently as well.
Yep.
I mean, it's been very satisfying. Most of my photos are of my corgi. So, and occasionally of things in my house that I am fixing or breaking,
Right.
and with the intention of fixing them.
Yeah.
But for my corgi, it works great. So I will say that, and occasionally capturing moments with family, sunsets, cool clouds, etc.
Right.
But that's that. I'm
So-
also looking up the Fairphone.
I was
4.
gonna say Hans. So I know I've definitely seen these before, but again, I try not to like look too hard into stuff that's not available in the U.S. because for the most part I just get jealous, and then I end up buying some random Chinese phone for $700 and I can't use it
Yeah.
because that's happened before. But yeah, I know I've seen these, but I have not looked like that far into them.
That's a.
But
just-
you say modular.
Ooh, it also says it has a removable battery.
Yeah.
That-
right.
I haven't had that.
Yeah, not too
in a
many
decade.
people offer that kind of stuff.
I haven't. No, I remember the
That's
last time I
pretty
had that
awesome.
was on a Samsung slide phone where I still had the keyboard. I still have that phone.
Yep.
It'll never work, but I have it.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorites because it's so easy to take that battery out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, and the iFixit repairability. That's great. I
That's
love those
super cool.
brands that are willing to work with the right to repair as opposed to fighting right to repair,
Right.
because it's always cheaper to be a good person, and especially when it comes to right to repair.
Right.
You're just let people repair what they want. I mean, like, many companies have seen that as, Apple has gone through all its lawsuits. Even John Deere has seen some stuff recently where they started losing ground on some of their right to repair stuff, where, it's not practical for them to say, we can only have so many people trained on how to do this that you have to get out to your area to fix your tractor, or we've got this proprietary software or firmware that we're going to treat as IP that you can't really have, but it's going to be in your tractor. So, but yeah, no, good to know that it's got that high iFixit repair score. That's fantastic. Cool. Very impressive.
This just brings me to my other point, like that I will just I'm so frustrated that the United States basically has Samsung and Apple, and then they have Google too.
Yeah.
Like that's how I phrase it. We have Samsung and Apple, and then Google.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, and obviously I say that's it, but like there's others. But that's it, right?
Those are the ones with the biggest footprint in that market, because you look at that pie chart and it's like, here's a big chunk, here's a big chunk, and there's a little sliver split up between all these other competitors. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy to think that things like Motorola are in there, right? Like others still. And I mean, there's probably still people with LGs, and then like there's still some OnePlus and the those Nord phones that are around. And then there's obviously all the super small, ultra cheap brands that nobody's ever heard of, but they apparently made some phones. But
well, and there's still like, so my mother still actually uses a flip phone. So then there's those where they're not actually smartphones, and they're falling under one other brand. Yeah. And there's like the 4G and 5G flip phones for those that are not quite ready to take the leap into the modern day.
So we got my mom. She's got an iPhone now, but she doesn't do anything on it. She doesn't have like any of the like social media accounts. Yeah. Like she doesn't. She literally like takes pictures on it and like looks at pictures. Yeah. Like, but we have to send her pictures. She doesn't see them on Facebook or anything.
Yes. Yeah.
She doesn't have any of those accounts. Well, so it's like the same thing where she's got a smartphone, but it's not crazy smart for her.
Yeah, at least you're not faxing the photos over.
That's
so that is a win.
I don't have to email them necessarily. If I send her like a OneDrive link of all of my pictures I took, she can at least open it and see them.
Yeah, I use that method frequently, so it works. But no, those flip phones do. Wow, 5 years of support?
That's crazy.
Man.
And I mean, to be fair, 5 years of... That's pretty...
that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, especially when... I mean, that's what... Isn't Google 5 years, too? Is that the way they say? Or?
I think it is.
I'm pretty sure that's what Samsung says, too, is 5 years. But, I mean, just for some other company that's not one of those, like, big manufacturers, I feel like that's a pretty crazy life expectancy. That's awesome.
Yeah, let me take a look and see what I can find on Google's, because I know their actual active support is only about 2 years, but then a few years out past that, you still get some help.
And you get something, right? That's awesome. Yeah, so back to my hill that I will die on is that I hate the state of phones that are in the United States. Okay, here's a completely different conversation, because I said back to my hill, and then I said one sentence, and now I've got another thought.
Yeah.
But either way, I love weird phones, and I wish that we had some crazy stuff, but we just don't. And I wish we had more. And I'm super jealous the fact that you even have like this Fair phone as an option. I just wish it was there. Like, why is that not here, right? So I'm jealous of that. But are you familiar with Evan Blass?
No.
Okay, he's a smartphone leaker. Like, that's how he became famous. Was leaking smartphone information, like 15 years ago, type of thing.
Yeah.
So he just the other day. Actually, let me pull this up. Let's I'm gonna just do some fun stuff here real quick. Let me go to his profile real quick. It takes a second on this computer because it is It's not the newest, but give me one.
I can tell by that Intel sticker that is somewhere between 5th and 8th gen.
Yep.
More likely in 7th gen.
Yep, sure is.
I've seen a lot of the 7th gen stickers.
7th gen.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those stickers at work, so I am very familiar with that Intel sticker.
All right. Okay, so he posted this picture before. Oh, don't look at the next one. Don't look at that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so he posted that picture just the other day, and said, all of these are from different manufacturers, all like current phones. These aren't like old phones that you wouldn't know of or wouldn't have heard of. These are all phones, every single one of you, like, that you know.
Yeah.
Can you figure out what they are? And I first saw this tweet and I was like, oh, easy. Let's go through them one by one. And I clicked enlarge the picture and I was like, oh, shoot. Like, I don't even know. Like, I couldn't figure it out. So, I mean, it basically comes down to the only thing that you're really going off of is like the camera punch.
Yeah.
Where your camera is, and then if from his angle, if you can see where the buttons are, so like you can see, okay, this one has, volume and power, but this one's got like extra button on the side, like.
Well, and like these two are screwing with me because they both got that kind of curved edge screen, same camera placement, same looking bottom I/O, and then same camera placement or the same button placement. And then it's like with this one, I feel, and that one's not, I can't reach for my Pixel and know exactly where those buttons are. Because like this one looks the most like a Pixel to me, but I'm probably wrong. And yeah, with the rest of it, it's so hard to tell.
Yeah. So it's just helping illustrate just how well, and again, what do you do when this is the norm, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm sure most of these manufacturers are like, okay, give me a solution on how we make these more unique.
Yeah.
Like, what do you suggest?
And then how do you balance that with mass customization as well? If you need to keep millions of people, tens of millions of customers happy.
So here is the backsides of the phones.
Okay, I got the Pixel right. Thank goodness. Pixel. I was wrong on. I would have been wrong on everything else.
The only reason I could pick out the Nothing phone because I had been I could not pick out the Pixel. Yeah. I did pick out the Nothing phone because I had been using it so often, but I had no idea on any of the rest of them.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed there's a headphone jack on this one.
Oh yeah. I don't even know what that one is. Is that an old Samsung?
It might be. I can't tell.
I don't even know what that
based
is.
On the... there's somebody that was doing an arrow right down here. I think that was the LG Velvet. And then somebody, I think, replied. The replies will load eventually, just not at a time that's convenient for us.
Yeah, all right.
That's okay.
See, this is why I need to upgrade. So if anybody else has a faster laptop that they want to sell me for $5, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the... Okay.
Actually, so this breaks into another fun thing that we could probably talk about outside of mobile phones, which is extending the life of standard laptops. So with this one, I actually just helped somebody about 2 weeks ago. It was a parent who I work with that was like, hey, my husband and I, we have these two kids. They're about the same age. They're, like right around like 10 years old. We want to get them laptops that are going to last them like 7 to 10 years. And I went, oh, okay. Oh. And so the other parent was someone who's technical, and they were doing a lot of looking around. They were looking at all of this stuff on like, what is the top tier in like, ASUS's wheelhouse right now? Like, what do I get when I spend $4,000 US on a laptop? Yeah. And so I kind of boiled down to like, okay, what is your use case? Yeah. And then kind of from there, I was able to narrow down what they went. I gave them a few options, and I said, first of all, you're giving these to children. Good luck getting them this far. You need to know that going into this, right? Like you have to consider who your end user is.
Absolutely.
Like if you're giving a computer to a scuba diver, maybe at some point that computer might get wet if they're an avid scuba diver.
Right.
I could be wrong. And so with that one, those laptops, it was also the case of if you want to keep it running long, you've got to clean the full chassis and the fans at least once a year, if not every 6 months.
Sure.
And just to get rid of where things are going to wear when we look at these models, you also want to look for one with an easily replaceable keyboard because those are going to wear over time. Those switches are going to go out.
And that's exactly what I was going to say is if you are going into something, a laptop, planning to keep it that long, you need to know that you're going to be replacing stuff like the keyboard. You're going to be replacing the battery at least once, if not multiple times.
Well, and so that's where I said like every 3 years you need to completely unseat like the CPU cooler and apply new thermal paste and
that's
do a
not
full
something
cleaning.
That anybody
No, that's not something
does.
anybody wants to do. And then you also need to test the battery and see if you need to
Yeah.
replace it. And so and that was where I recommended some cheaper options because it was like, hey, your manufacturer, they're not going to support this
No,
that
absolutely.
long. No one wants to support it
Yeah.
that long. So
Yeah.
here's how you're going to jury rig this to do it on your own.
Yeah.
And so this is it. It was like handling that CPU cooler because that ends up being a massive bottleneck over time.
Yeah.
And then making sure that you're using modern, like DDR4, DDR5 memory,
something
good fast
newer,
storage.
right.
And then, also get a display that's going to work well over time. But that it is so hard. And I had a buddy a year ago that was, he's in the military. He gets to play it all over the world. He wanted to have a gaming machine he could bring around with him, but he wanted it to last like 5 to 10 years. And I was like, man, you're going to be so hard on this thing.
Don't.
Like, that's where I was like, maybe if there's like a tough book that happens to have a GPU, you might be okay. But even then, no. And that's where I want to look at things like the modular laptops, like what's happening with the ones that Linus is involved with, framework. But those aren't quite there yet, and they don't have
No.
GPUs. And so it's like that.
Well, the one that he just talked about a while back does, but I don't think they're.
It's not in
anywhere.
production yet.
Yeah, no.
It's not released.
No.
So it might be in production, but not released.
Sure.
It's not available
Yeah.
for sale at this time that I know of.
That's
So
still one of those things that doesn't make sense to me because he's already talking about version 2, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is not compatible with version 1 stuff. And
yeah, and so it's how do you keep all of this stuff going? And
Yeah.
to kind of answer your question on or your comment on using Chromebooks, yeah, it's the best way to go, and I think it's what they've
Yeah.
been using. But they were also overthinking this quite a bit. They were like,
yeah.
what can we do that's going to work for papers, and what can we do that's going to work for games? Because I know they play these games, but they want to do something else. And what if they want to do photo editing and this and that and this and that? And it was kind of calming them down and going, okay, let's think about our realistic use cases and plan for what we can. But yeah, the rest of that stuff, like I was kind of talking about earlier in the stream, which was probably before you joined, there's a lot of virtualized hardware options out there. Like I'm a big user of Windows 365 as a VDI solution, and then I know there's a company in France I think called like Shadow PC or Shadow Compute or something like that, and they actually have fully virtualized systems with graphics cards, and so you can actually do gaming on a VDI, which is really neat.
A big fan of Xbox Game Pass.
Yep.
Which you can then just stream games from an Xbox to a screen, any screen too.
Yeah.
But also, he's got another question. Kind of brings us back to the phone conversation.
And
of
we're
how
gonna-
often do you upgrade your phone?
These are going to be very different answers. Mr. 7 phones in, what was that, a year?
A year? What? I mean, yeah, no, I've had the Wing for over a year now. Yeah.
Are we looking at 7 phones in 2
I mean-
years?
So, and to be fair, I also wouldn't say that I have upgraded.
Yeah, you've been changing them out.
Yeah, I buy all these phones for the most part either to play with and then sell.
Yeah.
Or, it's again not even an upgrade. Like I sold my Samsung S22 Ultra for this Pixel. I don't think I would consider that like an upgrade.
Correct.
Right? Like that was just I'm done with this phone for now. I want to I want to try this
And
one.
you were thrilled about that
So
Samsung.
excited.
I remember talking to you
it
about
was-
that, and you were
Dude,
ecstatic.
honestly, I have really considered getting another one of those again. I really, really did like the stylus. Was so useful. One, so it was actually, it made it so easy to play different games. Again, TFT, one of my favorite games, made it so easy because everything is the same as the computer, just on a tiny, tiny screen. So I always found myself like my fingers covering up half the screen when I played it. It was so much easier to use a stylus. But also things like put the phone on the tripod, have the stylus, click, it takes a picture.
Yeah.
So nice. So nice for different things like that. And not to mention, they're just ultra premium phones, right? They're just ridiculously nice everywhere, all around. So, yeah, I mean, I would definitely get one of those back. But the only thing, the big thing that's keeping me on the Pixel, one, camera. Camera, I still think, is better on the Pixel just because of how simple they make it. But also, I also like this size better, honestly.
Because that S22 was huge.
Yeah, they're really big. I really think that, at least for me, this like 6.1 to 6.3 inches is the perfect size, where I can still reach almost all of it with one hand, but it's big enough where I can still see the screen. Right?
Yeah.
It's not an iPhone SE or anything. It's not crazy small.
Well, and so I look at phone upgrades every 2 to 3 years because at that point, usually the battery in mine is
Exactly.
dying,
Right.
or there's major features that I'm missing out on, or there's a major change in storage or a major change in camera. But again, I'm a very boring mobile phone user. I have 2FA and MFA that I'm running through it, text phone, text call, email, video call, and streaming movies and way too much YouTube and music, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So it's not running every single thing off of my phone. I have several other computers in my home that I put through their paces. So those are where a lot of that work gets done. But yeah, 2 to 3 years has been pretty consistent, and that's worked well so far. But that's a trend I hope to keep up. But I know manufacturing trends, and especially as memory, we make new. Memory and computing have really been moving faster and faster.
Well,
which I was expecting to hit kind of a curve or like a roadblock.
I
before
feel
now.
like a lot of it has what you're seeing now is not even like faster processing. It's more efficient processing.
Oh yeah.
It's so it's you get the same amount of power for half the battery life.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a lot of you're seeing more of that, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're getting to a lot. A lot of people are extending how long they have their phones just because, like, there's nothing wrong with this one, or worst case, the battery's going bad, so I have to upgrade because of that or whatever. But I mean, if you talk about like actual upgrades, I mean, my phone has been probably been between like 6 and 9 months that I like really switch a daily driver out. Like, again, I used this nothing phone for like a month and a half, and now I'm probably going to sell that again and go back to my Pixel. But I'll have this Pixel for probably 6 to 9 months. Well, when did I get this? When I get this Pixel?
It was around January, wasn't it? Because I remember seeing that come out around Christmas or New Year's.
I don't know.
Let's check your own
I was-
YouTube channel and see what
well,
it is.
I mean, that's when I put videos out. I don't know if that's when I bought it. I definitely. So this came out in October, I'm pretty sure, and I know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think January sounds right. I definitely did not get it day one either.
Yeah.
Let's see, Pixel.
Because you put it out 2 months ago.
Did I not buy this Pixel? Oh, I bought it on eBay. That's right. I got it used.
I think that the week after you put out your Pixel 7 video is when I finally convinced my wife to let me just go and buy her one while it was still on sale.
I've used that video to sell the Pixel to a few different people already.
Yeah. Well, and that was when it was on that sale where it was down to $450.
Yeah. Yeah,
$450, which was a great deal.
A crazy deal
for a brand new phone that was still in good condition, still in brand new condition.
Yeah.
And now like all the peripherals are set up, and there's a lot more options for like cases and whatnot. Great time.
Yep. I still think the Pixel 7 is a fantastic option, even with the 7a out there. I think it's a great phone. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'll have to see, I probably got this in January, or maybe December, maybe January. I don't remember. But I think the next phone that I will consider getting, that I would probably daily drive over this, would be that Nothing Phone 2, which is slated for, I think they said Q3.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if they've said anything much more than Q3 or like maybe this year or something.
Yeah.
But that's probably the next phone that I would really consider, unless I got a really crazy deal on like an S23 Ultra.
Yeah.
If somebody came and they were like, "Hey, I have this extra one. Like, just give me $500 for it."
Yeah.
Oh, well, what's wrong with it? Nothing. It's brand new in the box. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll $500. Here you go.
Yeah.
Like, unless something like that happened, there's nothing. Maybe if I got a deal on one of those Xperias, I would use that. I don't know if I would switch to that. Like, I don't know if I would upgrade, quote unquote upgrade to an Xperia. I feel like that'd be another one of those phones that I'd probably just buy, use for a while, and then sell.
Yeah. It looks like mid-July is the target date for the Nothing Phone 2, according to rumors.
Ooh, okay.
So that's coming right up. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, if this, so they've announced that it's going to be the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor, and a lot of the other specs have leaked. A couple like benchmark things have leaked for it. So I assume it's going to come in probably the same like 8 gigabyte or a 12 gigabyte model. I hope they're not doing a 128 gigabyte model. I hope they're just standard of 256. Yeah. Although this is a 128 gig model. The Nothing Phone 1 I have is a 128. And I don't have a problem with 128 because I switch phones so often.
Yeah. Well, but I've been on this Pixel 6 Pro and 128 for almost 2 years. I'm fine.
Yeah. I feel it's one of those things where just it doesn't make sense to me for not having 256. Yeah. With the camera resolutions and videos and stuff where they're at right now, the standard should be 256. Yeah. And just the price of this stuff, like there's no reason it shouldn't be. But especially when, I mean, the more you get, like, why does your phone record 4K? Yeah. And only have 128 gigabytes of storage?
Because if you got 4K videos and 4K photos everywhere, and if you're, especially if like your front-facing selfie camera is even like 2K,
right?
Then that is you're gonna have such larger files, and it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But
or if stick me with 128 gigs and give me an SD card slot. God dang, come on.
Any kind of expandable storage that doesn't lock me into a recurring monthly fee for cloud storage that mostly works.
Right.
Yeah. But I was actually going to say, I do not know if we have a set time to end, but I need to start wrapping up here.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. Yeah, I mean, unless anybody else has anything else, I appreciate everybody being in here in chat. Nick, Red, Clout, Hans, appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. I appreciate Wyatt being here. Thank you so much. Hopefully this is the type of thing that I do more often, is have some just very fun people on stream that we can talk about just random tech things. This is the goal. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you humoring me in the stream and just talking about some random things.
Thank you for having me. I'm nothing if not a fountain of random words. So I'm happy to just throw them out and see if anybody enjoys them.
Awesome. Well, we are going to be live on Saturday still, at least next week. I have to check my calendar. At least next week, we're still going to be live on Saturday, but then hopefully we'll be switching back to Friday nights because I feel like Friday nights worked a lot better for us. We had a lot more people join for some reason, but I also liked it because now I have to wait an extra day every week to do this. So having it on Friday was much better for me. So also, I think, I mean, not that anybody probably cares, but I think I'm going to have an announcement next week as far as my life goes. So that should be fun. I don't know yet. I need to figure out. We've got some really fun stuff coming down the line. I'm ridiculously excited about it, and
it is good news. He said a big change. It is good news. It's okay.
I did tell Wyatt about it earlier. It's really good stuff for as far as YouTube goes, and I'm really excited to continue diving in and just doing a bunch of crazy stuff. Not to mention, we're coming up on 1 year of officially like doing YouTube. I need to figure out what those terms are because doing YouTube doesn't sound right.
YouTubing.
Welcome, Fast Action. Welcome to the end of the stream.
Enjoy going back and rewatching us.
we were just wrapping up. Wyatt has to get out of here pretty soon, so we are about to say goodnight. But again, if you want to jump in here, no worries. Hey, whoa, that is way better than this.
Yeah. No A-list actors here, unfortunately.
As soon as I get to, just the amount of years that Fast and the Furious has been a thing, then we'll consider taking that as an insult. But at this point in time, that's all good. You enjoy movies like that. I still need to see that. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by tonight. Like I said, we will be live again, 8 p.m., same time, same place, next week on Saturday, and then hopefully moving back to Fridays is the goal. So thanks again to Wyatt. Here is, check it, 23 years. Look at that. That's insane. That's insane. Here is Wyatt's Toggle magazine feature. One more time. If you want to check that out, go check out more about Wyatt there. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. The article is dreadfully boring. I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, it's been wonderful. Thank you for the beer and the conversation, and I hope everybody watching had a good time. I hope you have a great night.
All right. We'll see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.